Hi Guava Bees, and welcome to another episode of the Dear Guava Bean podcast. Remember, submit your questions in the Guava box or on the website, and we could be answering yours in the next episode. I'm Francesca, and with me is Claire.
Hello.
And today's question is, Dear Guava Bean, currently I work as a specialist in inbound marketing. I find it very difficult to find remote jobs that are more strategic like these. Does anyone here find themselves in the same situation, and do you have any tips for me? I really want to throw myself into this world of digital nomading, but finding a way to make money has been my biggest difficulty. Okay, I can definitely understand this person's difficulty. I think when it comes to maybe moving from kind of those beginning entry-level freelancing jobs, maybe into something more strategic, I think it definitely requires a bit more work to, build up this kind of business, Claire. Now, obviously, we've been freelancers for years, both of us. And it is pretty daunting, isn't it? Like, figuring out what that next step is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It is difficult to find those more strategic jobs. I mean, we're not talking entry level anymore. If you want to work as an inbound marketing specialist, that's kind of like an expert level position. And so those kind of clients are going to be a little bit tougher to find. There's going to be a little bit of competition. And I do think, like, I work in marketing. I don't do inbound marketing. I do paid advertising. But I do know that the good clients are really difficult to find.
Yeah, because I know we talked a little bit briefly before about this, Claire, but I feel like the difference between like an entry-level job and something more specialized is you're no longer going to be looking for jobs on job boards and applying to jobs that way with like hundreds of applicants. It's very much kind of tipping it on its head and now building your business and building a strategy to figure out how to get those clients to come to you. Like, that's the way I look at it.
Yes, exactly. If you are an inbound marketing specialist, that kind of means that you should know inbound marketing. So you could use inbound marketing to get yourself some clients. That's one way to do it. I mean,
It's a very good point.
That's what inbound marketing is. And so when I started, I didn't have any clients. I used myself as like my test client. And I used my own website to try to get people. I only had like an about me page, about.me. You can have like a little free page. But I treated myself as a client, and I tried to get a little bit of people to come and visit my page and to get clients that way. And so absolutely, if you're a specialist in inbound marketing, you should be able to use those skills to help yourself get some leads and some clients. Absolutely, you need to find a way to make the clients come to you and have a strategy and a system. Marketing is all about strategy. That's the first thing I would say. Like, what is your strategy? If you want strategic jobs, you got to be a strategic person. And I get all of my clients from referrals, but this has taken a while to build up. You have to be good at your job and to be able to really impress clients in order to have them refer you. So that's one way to get those types of strategic jobs. But another way is to use your own skills to bring those clients in the same way you would for a client.
I love this idea of using yourself as your own client. It definitely makes sense for a marketer. Did you find when you did this, Claire, that it was difficult to sort of get out of your own head? Because I imagine you kind of, when you're working for a client, they're kind of telling you and you get to work with them on their own sets of challenges and things. But I guess sometimes if you try and help yourself with your skills, it must be quite difficult to see what you're missing and, try and make a strategy that way. Did you find that difficult?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know what I was doing when I started. I wasn't even really qualified to work for other people, much less myself. But I was learning, like I was testing things out. And at least I wasn't, making those mistakes on someone else's account. I was just doing it. I was figuring things out on myself. And I was using myself as like the test client. And then, when I feel more confident, then I can go to clients and say, look at these results that I got. And even if I don't have results, I can show them, for example, with copywriting, you can write yourself a little blog post and then be like, look at this blog post I've written. So you can create your own examples and you could build your own portfolio and use that to attract clients. And so that's kind of how I used it. I built myself a little portfolio of things that I could do. I use myself as a client, and then I use those examples to show other people what I could do for them. And it always helps to have a visual. If you tell people I do inbound marketing, they might not know what that is. But if you can say to people, I brought, 5 new clients into my company last month, that is interesting to them. And so I think a lot of success in finding these strategic kind of jobs is knowing exactly what your clients are looking for and being able to provide it for them. If you know that, then it's just a matter of finding those people. You just know the exact type of people that you want and what they really need and make it all about that. Like, I don't talk to clients about anything other than Facebook ads. I only do Facebook ads, and I only do evergreen campaigns, which means I don't do launches. I've become very niche and very specific in what I do. And that really helps me find clients, because whenever somebody's looking for that one specific thing, then the people who know me can say, oh, I know someone who does that. Let me refer you. And so becoming a specialist means learning how to stand out and how to niche down and really speak to the right type of clients that you want to work with.
Right. And I think a lot of, we've talked about sort of niches and things, I feel like quite a lot, haven't we? But I think they're really important when you think, the way I look at it is, some freelancers may think, or maybe a lot of freelancers think, that if they niche down, they're missing out on a lot of potential clients. But actually, if you look for a specific niche, the people that are going to end up getting referred to you, the people you end up working with, you're going to waste a lot less time in figuring out if they're right for you, if sort of building that relationship, trying to convince them that you're the right person for the job, if you're that specialized in exactly what they need. So the right people are always going to be the ones that come to you. I do kind of agree with getting that sort of proof, or those sort of examples of what you can actually do, especially in like a marketing job. I mean, obviously I'm not in marketing, but I know that with marketing kinds of freelancers, you want to be able to show people what results you can get them. And sometimes I think from someone who isn't a marketer, a lot of it can be quite full of jargon, maybe sort of terms and things that we don't understand unless you're a marketer. So I think it's really important to actually break it down and speak to people just in plain English, explain what you're going to be able to do for them. Like you already said, Claire, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that some people might struggle with, because if you're so used to being at such a high level marketer, you're used to these terms and these phrases and sort of strategies and things, and they mean a lot to you, but as a client you may have no idea what any of that means, and it can actually turn people off if you are just constantly talking about this stuff in like a high level language, because people will just think, well, I have no idea if you can help me, so I'm just going to go to someone else. I think it's really important to remember that and try and do stuff for your client, not for yourself. So like you said, when you're talking to your clients, you don't talk about anything other than Facebook ads. And, I think that goes for anything. If you just want to talk to them about what you can do for them, rather than like boasting about how amazing you are, that, there's not really a lot of sense in doing that, because it doesn't really mean anything unless you apply it to something that actually matters to your client. So, I think probably a good way, if you're looking for more strategic jobs and you want that kind of experience and you want to be able to do that, I think a lot of that is creating a strategy where you can show off your your skills and how that would apply to them in some sort of way that you can use again and again. So you need to put like a strategy in place. And being a marketer, I'm guessing that would probably be maybe one step ahead, because you have an idea of how to get people to come to you. So I guess it's just about finding that strategy and building a strategy that you know that works, and then bringing clients to you. So rather than, going out and traditionally applying for jobs, which we're not thinking about now, you want to be able to find a way to get clients to come to you and entice them. And I know, Claire, obviously we have the fishing method, don't we? And there's a lot of valuable advice, and it's a really good technique if you're looking for a strategy to build to get clients to come to you. And not just clients, but clients that you actually want to work with and, who are ideal for you as well.
Yes, yes. The fishing method is actually a form of inbound marketing. I just realized, and while you were talking, I just pulled up the definition of inbound marketing for anyone who doesn't know exactly what it is. I'll just read the basic definition that I found here on Google. So inbound marketing is a technique for drawing customers to products and services via content marketing, social media, search engine optimization, and branding. Okay, so inbound marketing improves customer experience and builds trust by offering potential customers information they value. So yeah, that is very similar to what we teach in the fishing method. But basically, inbound marketing is creating content that people will find valuable, and that content draws people in to your services. That's why it's called inbound marketing. You create stuff that draws people in. The opposite of that is outbound marketing, where you go out, you pitch directly to people, and you do all of the work of going out there, putting yourself out and meeting people instead of having them come to you. So with inbound marketing, you're creating some type of content that your customer will find useful so that they will come to you through that content. And the fishing method is a perfect way of doing this, because we teach how to create what we call a lead magnet, or in the course we call it client bait. But you create your own little client bait that you give clients for free. And this is something that you can use to get those leads into your business. And so by creating either really good social media posts or really good content, if you have like a blog, you can create really good content and then people could find you through your blog. But that's just one system or strategy to use to get those strategic clients. And I definitely agree with you. If you want these strategic, higher level type of jobs, you're going to need a higher level strategy. The strategy of like, oh, I just hope and pray for clients is not going to work. Or even the strategy of, I'm just going to go out and spend like 5 hours browsing for jobs and applying to everything that I can find. That may or may not work for you either. You may need a strategy that is very specific to the type of customer that you're looking for, because not everybody's looking for an inbound marketing specialist. That's a niche thing. A lot of people are looking for copywriters, a lot of people looking for virtual assistants, but inbound marketing specialist is niche. And so the way to get those types of clients is going to be by creating some type of asset that pulls people into you. Either that asset is your reputation as a fantastic marketer, or it's something that you create, like a free lead magnet or a webinar or a PDF download or an ebook. If you created like a little PDF download that teaches people the basics of inbound marketing, that could be something that you use to get clients into your business. And so there's plenty of ways to do it, but I definitely agree with you about having that strategy in order to get these types of clients.
Yeah, 100%. I also think that having a strategy is often like the thing that is going to be most useful, because I think from my point of view, for example, I say I've never done marketing before, but actually I used to do content marketing writing for clients. I don't do that so much anymore. But, I personally am not the best writer in the world, but my clients were happy because I paid attention to what their needs were. And I had a strategy in place to find the clients. And I think that's actually the probably two really important things that you need to always bear in mind is, having a strategy that you stick to, and that can be, monthly tasks, it could be one-offs, it could be something you do every week, but whatever it is, it's something that you just need to build and follow. And also just, listening to what your clients want. I think part of that, though, is figuring out who your clients are going to be, why you want to help them. There's a lot of things. It's all very well being an amazing marketer, but you can only be so amazing and help people and find clients that you then, make you a lot of money and make you very happy and then lead on to referrals if they're actually getting value from what you offer. And I think a lot of that is going to, you're going to have to figure that out first as well. Again, going back to the fishing method, I think that will really help because I've done it. I did the fishing method and it will help you figure some of that stuff out, which can be quite tricky, I think, if you're trying to look to move into, this way of clients almost coming to you, that bit can be a bit tricky. But I think the fishing method does help a lot with that because it's going to help you figure out, where to find these clients, how to approach them. It's not about sort of, I do think, some cold emailing or cold approaching people stuff does work to an extent. But in my opinion, like we've already discussed, creating that kind of content that's going to get people coming to you because actually they trust you and they value you and they get to know you through the content, I actually think is going to serve you for a lot longer, and it takes way less time and isn't so frustrating, because I don't think there's in my opinion, there's not many things that are less fun than just sending out loads of emails to people who don't know who I am. So yeah, I would definitely say a strategy like built around creating content works really well. But again, I guess it depends on the kinds of clients you have. They may digest content in different ways, and that's really important to bear in mind as well. Potentially you have a blog, but if you don't, you could do something like a YouTube video series. That's a great way of finding people who could be watching and they might be your ideal clients. Or a podcast or something. There's lots of different ways that you could try it. Don't be afraid to think of creative ways to be able to market yourself. And I'm sure if you're an inbound marketing specialist, you have a lot of good ideas and some skills that you can put to use, as you said earlier, Claire.
Yeah, I like that podcast idea. That's a great way of building credibility and getting your name out there as like an expert in this thing. I think that giving value is always the best way to bring in good clients. And so if you're not interested in doing content marketing, or if you say that's not for me, you can also go to a lot of networking events. Like you meet a lot of business owners in certain networking events. And so if you want to build up that content marketing, but that's going to take some time, one way to get clients quickly is to go to a lot more networking events and put yourself out there. Bring your business card and tell people what you do. Tell your friends what you do. Tell everybody that you know what you do. And if you do a good job in marketing yourself and getting the word out there, someone who needs your services is going to hear about it and come back to you. And so that's one way that you can get clients. And I just find that because every time I go to these networking events, and I only go to like one a year, but I always find someone who is like super interested in what I do and like wants to learn more. And so you can always come away from those events with some good connections that could eventually lead into clients if you do it right. But another way that I know to get clients, like I said, is referrals. But referrals is basically positive word of mouth. And if you know how to grow that positive word of mouth, then you can do things strategically to get more referrals. And I talked about this in one of the From the Desk podcast episodes, all about referrals and how I used referrals. Like I have certain strategies. For example, I send a gift, a thank you gift to everybody that sends me a referral. And I do this because I worked in a marketing agency for a long time, and I noticed that they always sent gift cards to everybody that sent referrals. And that's one way to increase referrals. And so if you know these types of strategies, you can increase referrals by doing a few things here and there. And so there's a few different ways to go about this. You can do the marketing way, or you can do the networking way, or you can do the referral way. But I would try to find something that works. Maybe do all three until you find something that works. And then once you find a way to get clients, just focus on delivering a ton of value, because if you make those clients happy, they will refer their friends to you. And I work with clients who have a whole list of connections just waiting. Like they're like, do you have availability? Let me know. I want to introduce you to someone. And so if you get in with the right clients, and it does take some time, but if you're careful about it and you deliver a really good service, you can work with some really good clients who have all the connections that you need. You don't even have to go out and get new clients. If you deliver an outstanding service for the clients that you do have, eventually those referrals will build. You'll get to work with better and better clients who have more and more friends and business connections that they can refer to you. And that's one way to get those strategic jobs. That's how I do it. I find I get the best leads that way. I don't like to put myself out there. And, I don't do any type of content marketing or social media. I barely do any networking. And I just get all my clients from referrals. It's been the best thing for me. But of course, like you said, there has to be a strategy behind it. You can't just hope and pray a referral comes to you. You have to be thoughtful about how you bring in those referrals and how you treat the people who give you referrals and who you work with as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that referrals are like a long-term thing, aren't they? Because I'm pretty much the same as you, Claire. Like, I would say most of my clients come from referrals as well, but it didn't start out that way. You can't get referrals when you haven't done anything yet. I think that getting referrals just comes from, consistently, building strategies or trying new things, and just treating people who you work with a lot of respect and kindness. And it's always like, it doesn't matter if we're talking about work or whatever, but you should always treat everyone you work with kindness and respect, because you never know what that might lead to in the future. And because it's a nice thing to do, obviously, as well.
Yeah, exactly. You just mentioned that you can't get referrals if you don't have clients yet. I remember one friend of mine had this cool strategy where she got her referrals by emailing all of her friends and family. Like she wrote out a really nice long email, and she explained a lot about herself, but basically she sent it out to her personal network of all of her closest friends and family and colleagues and work connections. And basically she said, I have availability for 2 new clients this year, and I will pay $500 for any referral that you send my way that ends up becoming a client. Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
there's ways to do it. Like even if you don't have a lot of experience or clients to give you referrals, you have your personal network. If
That's
you're
true.
willing to be really generous, you can incentivize people, but you have to tell them the right type of client that you're looking for. I'm looking for a business owner like this, and this. If you know anyone, put me in touch, and if they turn into a client, I'll give you this amount. And if it's generous enough, you will get some leads off of that.
I love that. Giving people an incentive is always really effective, I think. And actually, Clay, you just reminded me real quick. It reminded me of Ryan Robinson. He's a content marketer. He has this really successful blog, and he has this this like I think it's like called the 30-day business validation. It's like a course, and basically he kind of did the same thing. So he started as a test, kind of like you did as being your own client. He just did this as a test, but he came up with like a new business idea and actually contacted his friends, his family, you know, people he knew, and told them about it and asked if they would be interested. And this is before he'd built out like a website for it. It's before he, you know, had written a book or anything like that. And he just said, look, would you be interested in it? Does it sound good? And they were like, yeah, actually, this sounds amazing. And he ended up getting like a wait list for a book that he hadn't even written yet, just because he reached out to all of these people he knew. And so that served him really well. And that was one of my favorite examples, which you just reminded me of, because it does pay to speak to the people you know in some instances and just put your ideas out there to them, because you never know who might be interested.
That's a great example. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, I agree. I think a lot of people overlook the value in your personal connections, because if anybody is going to refer you, it's going to be the people who know you. You know, your network of friends and family is actually your most valuable asset. You know, the connections that you have. What is that saying? Your network is your net worth.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
It's just a saying that basically means, you know, your network, the people that you know, are the most valuable thing that you have. And you don't have to always go looking for clients outside of that. You know, if you leverage your own personal network correctly, like if you have colleagues who like you and trust you and you have a good relationship with them, there's a very good chance that these people know someone who needs your services. And so I would definitely go to those people first. I know sometimes it can be a little awkward going to your friends and family, which is why I think using this type of email that my friend did and offering a really high incentive, it can take away the awkwardness. You know, you're doing them a favor too.
Mm-hmm.
All they have to do is make that connection and they could end up, you know, with a nice little chunk of cash. So it takes away the awkwardness if you're rewarding people really well for it. And if you want to see that email, I actually convinced my friend to let me use it as a template.
Oh, did you? That would be amazing to see.
Yeah, I put it inside the GUAVABEAN starter course. So it's one of the bonus resources. I don't know if you know this, but every time you finish one of the lessons, you unlock a bonus resource. And so one of the bonus resources is this email. It's my friend calls it the email that started it all.
Oh.
Because it was the email that got her first like really high paying clients, and it started her marketing agency. She was able to create a whole marketing agency using this method of just being really, really generous with her personal network and relying heavily on referrals.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought so. When I read that email, I was like, wow, I have to use this, because I know that a lot of freelancers will get value out of this. People feel so awkward to like write their friends and family. But if you do it in a really nice way, I think it's such a powerful tool. And I think you can get clients off of that strategy pretty easily.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, obviously the proof is right there. I hadn't seen this email, so I'm really curious. I'd love to look at it. Because I think it can be quite awkward to ask people who you know personally. And so if there's a way that you can make it just less awkward, because I do think that is quite scary, isn't it? Sometimes, like, these people care about you a lot, but it also can be a bit scary to reach out and ask for help. But I like this. It kind of turns it on its head, because you're, like you said, you're offering them something as a reward. So that sounds great.
Yeah, you know, I think I can include in the show notes, I'll include a little way for people to download this email if they want to read it, because I know that like having that visual, knowing exactly what the letter said and how it said it is really valuable. So I'll include that in the show notes so people can see that email. And then if you want the template, it's inside the Guava box.
Awesome. We hope you enjoyed listening to the Dear Guava Bean podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Guava Bean on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for updates and new episodes. As always, our goal is to empower you with the information, inspiration, and direction you need to achieve financial freedom through online work. For more content like this, join us in the Guava Bean Freelancer Toolbox. Just go to guavabean.com to start your free trial now. Thanks for listening and supporting the podcast. See you in the next episode.